What if attraction had less to do with how you look and more to do with how you listen, speak, and see? Imagine this. You walk into a room, you say almost nothing, yet people lean in, not because you're loud, but because your energy says everything. This isn't charisma, it's calibration, and it starts with how you speak. In this video, we're not giving you pickup lines. We're giving you presence, in the form of words. These are 7 phrases that don't just attract, they awaken. Not tricks, not tactics, but truth, spoken with clarity, depth, and timing. Let's dive in. 1. There's something about you I can't quite name, and I love that. Most guys rush to define things. You're cute, you're hot, you're funny, because defining gives a sense of control, and control feels safe. But here's the paradox. The most powerful connections come from surrendering control. When you say this phrase, you invite her into a space where she doesn't have to be fully known to be fully felt. You're saying, I'm not rushing to categorize you. I'm choosing to experience you. That alone is rare. It makes you feel present, like someone who's not here to consume her, but to witness her. This statement opens a loop in her mind, the kind that doesn't demand an answer, but invites exploration. She may even ask, "What do you mean?" And that's when you smile and say, "I'm still figuring it out, and I like that I don't have to." It gives her space to be dynamic, unpredictable, real, and it shows that you're grounded enough to hold mystery without needing to solve it. She'll pause, and in that pause, her mind begins to explore. What does he see in me? And more importantly, what does he see that I've never seen in myself? This activates a powerful psychological shift, one where you become a mirror, not a seeker. You reflect something she didn't even know she wanted to share. Use this when the moment feels raw, surprising, or when you catch yourself smiling and don't even know why. That's where presence lives. Irendu. I'm drawn to women who live in alignment with who they are. Let's be honest, anyone can look confident, but very few people feel whole. Congruence, when a person's words, actions, and energy all match, is magnetic. And when a woman lives in integrity with her values, she doesn't just walk into a room, she changes its temperature. This phrase lets her know that you're not impressed by noise, you're moved by stillness, by people who are rooted, not just loud. Drop this when she shares something about her boundaries, her growth, or a decision that cost her comfort, but preserved her soul. You're not validating her ego, you're recognizing her essence. And in a world where people reward performance, this makes you a man who rewards presence. This phrase also says something quietly powerful about you, that you too are doing the work, that you're not looking for a woman to complete you, but to reflect your own alignment back to you. That kind of resonance, it's not just attractive, it's rare, and rare is irresistible. 3. I noticed something about you, and it's not obvious. Let's shift focus from charisma to consciousness. Anyone can say something clever. Few people can witness someone fully, silently, and name what matters. This phrase isn't just a line, it's an offering, a moment where you're telling her, I see the layers that most people overlook. I'm not caught up in how you present. I'm attuned to how you exist. Use it when she's sharing something that clearly costs her vulnerability. Not just the story, but the tremble behind it. When her eyes do more than speak, they reveal. And you don't make it dramatic. You don't hype it up. You say something simple, intentional, and felt. Like, I noticed you pause before answering tough questions. Like you don't want to give anything that isn't real. Or, you got quiet when you talked about your dad. That silence said more than the words. When you notice that, she'll feel it in her body. Why? Because most of the time she's surrounded by men, trying to decode her with logic, flatter her with cliches, or project what they want onto her. You, on the other hand, reflect. You notice the texture of her truth. And that is disarming. When you say this, she doesn't just feel attractive, she feels understood. And that unlocks a level of emotional connection that can't be faked or fast-tracked. You didn't chase her smile. You waited for the silence behind it. And that's what makes the moment unforgettable. You're holding space for what's behind it. 4. To be honest, I'm not for everyone. Some men enter a room trying to be liked by everyone. Others walk in knowing exactly who they are and let the room respond however it will. This phrase belongs to the second kind. It's not about arrogance, it's about awareness. It tells her, I'm not chasing compatibility, I'm honoring alignment. And that distinction? It's powerful, because while compatibility tries to check boxes, alignment checks energy, it checks values, it checks truth. Use this when she pushes your edges, when she jokes about your standards, or when she calls you too intense or too quiet. Say it with calm, not combat. This isn't a wall, it's a window. It lets her see into a man who's not available to everyone. Not because he's better, but because he's clear. And clarity, when embodied, is deeply attractive because it says, I'm not here to prove myself. I'm here to live from my principles. And if you vibe with that, we move. It also gives her a choice, one that's clean, honest, and unforced. That in itself is a refreshing kind of freedom, because in a world of performance and pleasing, a man with boundaries doesn't just stand out. He grounds the entire room. 5. If you think you've figured me out, you haven't. Let's make one thing clear. Mystery isn't about hiding. It's about revealing yourself at the right depth and at the right pace. This phrase honors that pacing. It says, there's more, but not everyone gets it, and I'm okay with that. Use this when she thinks she's nailed your vibe too quickly. When she says something like, you seem like a guy who, or you're definitely the type that. You let her finish. You smile. You drop this line, not as a defense, but as an invitation. Because here's what it really does. It invites her off the script. It tells her you're not predictable, not because you're playing a role, but because you've lived enough to defy cliches. You might be into poetry and Muay Thai. You might meditate and also yell at football games. You've got range, and range is attractive. This phrase works best when it's backed by a life worth discovering, because then she's not just intrigued, she's invested, not in some mystery guy, but in the real you, one she's now curious to uncover, layer by layer. 6. I don't move just because there's energy. I move when it's right. Most people think desire is enough, but energy on its own can be misleading, fast, intense, addictive. This phrase cuts through the chaos. It's not about slowing things down to play games. It's about staying in integrity with yourself, even in the fire. Drop this when she leans in. When her eyes ask questions, her mouth hasn't yet. When everything in the room is saying go, and you calmly choose not yet. This isn't resistance, it's refinement. It's not withholding, it's wisdom. Because a man who can feel heat but still follow his inner compass, that's a man who doesn't get lost. That's a man who leads. It shows her, you're not here for a moment, you're here for momentum. And that distinction changes everything. In a world of instant chemistry, being the man who responds, not reacts, creates a kind of gravitational pull that no spark can match. 7. You don't need to impress me. I'm listening for the real you. Let's shift the pressure. She's been on dates where she had to be on. Smile right, laugh at the right time, say the smart thing. Be interesting, but not intimidating. Beautiful, but not self-absorbed. It's exhausting. And more than that, it's lonely. Because performance creates distance. Even if it earns attention, it rarely earns connection. That's why this phrase matters. You're not just telling her, relax. You're saying, I value the unpolished parts of you. I'm not seeking perfection. I'm seeking something real. This lands because it's unexpected. She's not used to being invited out of performance mode. And when you make it safe for her to show up messy, emotional, honest, without fearing she'll lose your interest, you become a space, not a test. Use this when the conversation turns quiet, when she pauses before speaking, or when her voice lowers. That's when the mask is slipping. Let her know she doesn't have to put it back on. This phrase isn't just a kind statement. It's an act of leadership. Because what you're really saying is, I've done the inner work to meet you in truth. You're safe here. And when a woman feels that, that's not just attraction, that's resonance. Let's land this. Every one of these phrases only works if it reflects something true about you. They're not pickup lines. They're not manipulation tools. They're mirrors of a man who doesn't need control because he moves from clarity. So if you want to use them, don't memorize them, embody them. Live a life that's layered, honest, and undistracted. Speak like someone who's not trying to win her over, but someone inviting her into something real. Because the most attractive man in the room isn't the loudest, richest, or most clever. It's the man who's fully himself and invites others to do the same. Speak slower, mean deeper, lead with presence. I'll see you in the next one.